Do we go with the masses or do we focus it a little bit narrowed down? Jason Derulo, a pop artist, right? Pop music star, sold millions and millions. Created a book, I believe. He wrote a book and he's kind of on tour, or this press tour. He had an interview with Forbes. And how he picked his music career or the genre that he was in is actually pretty interesting. And I don't know if many people think of it like that. So we've on this podcast have really championed niching down. But does this change our mind? Let's listen.
Why you decided to choose pop over R&B? And you said, I didn't choose which genre I love the most or which one came the most naturally to me. I chose the genre that the greatest number of people listen to because I wanted to be the biggest artist in the world.
Because it's not the pop star thing to say, right? It's not the musician thing to say, to be like, I chose this because of numbers, you know? But it is the music business. There hasn't been a musician to start off pop ever. Black musician to start off pop. They always start with urban and then you know, kind of crossover is the word. So I was like, well, why can't it be me?
Moose, do you go with the mass appeal or the niche focus, and why?
Yeah, so let me first even say why I chose this clip, because it goes against almost everything that I even teach, right? Where I say, hey, you have to go with what comes most natural to you, what is within your superpower, what is easiest, etc. And then I listen to this and I'm saying, it reminds me of when Will Smith talked about the way he chose his movies. Now, if you follow Jason Derulo or Will Smith, you know that they're actually friends. So there might be some similarities. There might be some, you know, like-minded strategizing, thinking that's happening there. But I found that really interesting that not everyone succeeds with banking on what they like, what comes natural to them. Some people actually find more of a challenge or more of a high in saying, let's go for it. Like, why not me? And so it was a good wake-up call to me and say, do I have opportunity to do something like that? Like, is there something that I've said to myself as maybe, oh, you're too introverted, or you don't like this, or you don't like that? Is there an opportunity for, you know, even myself to go against the grain and do something completely unorthodox? And the fact that it is out of the blue or not so natural, maybe that's the reason for its success, right? Like the surprise element helps create its success. Of course, naturally for me, I vote on the side of, oh, you relied on numbers, right? Like that as a data-driven person or someone who likes numbers, I'm going to lean on that side. Oh, that sounds like an informed decision because you banked on numbers. But aside from that, I did want to highlight to those of you who are listening, and heck, as a reminder to myself as well, what if the natural or relying on your natural isn't the only way to do it, right? Maybe there's opportunity or circumstance for it to be done differently as well.
So, shout out to Jason Derulo. But I think he still niched down, even though it may not think that. Let me explain. So, mass appeal, right? Speaking to the masses, trying to go for everyone. 9 out of 10 times has huge competition. That's why a lot of people don't, like, that's why I suggested to niche down, because to kind of stand out more. But his reasoning is not like there really isn't a black person who's done it this way. Mm-hmm. Most of them go urban, then pop. So I can stand out. If I go pop first, and let's be honest, I mean, numbers wise, if you want to talk about it, like getting into the music business, period, is crowded. You go to hip hop, you go R&B, you go whatever. It's still very crowded, right? So going into, for him, the urban, whether it is R&B, whether it's hip hop, you know, you're now going into a huge pool of other people of your ethnicity. How do you stand out? You know, okay, maybe you can dance. That's great. Okay. But if you go pop, though you have, you know, the biggest of big stars, and that competition's heavy, but you still stand out because you are the black guy dancing around doing pop music. Why are you not like your other people rapping and singing R&B music? So I see where he's trying to say there, but I think it's still a strategic move that gives more of a niche focus without necessarily being like thinking that he was doing that from maybe numbers as far as how many people listen to this, how many people are in the pop section, that whole nine. But who's to say there isn't so many rappers and R&B people compared to pop people? I don't know. I don't know how many artists are doing either or. I know so much of the R&B and the hip hop world. There's a lot of people trying to do that. I don't know how many people, but granted, pop goes towards a lot of ethnicities. So there may be a whole bunch of other people who are trying to be pop stars. Not really sure, but like I said, it normally going to the mass appeal has more competition. Him going and already seeing the gap, it makes me feel as if he's going more towards niche, just because of how he stands out.
Yeah, and you make a good point about that, because my mind went strictly to the demographic. It's like the demographic of people who might tune into pop music, they come with a completely different median household income than those who subscribe to rap and R&B. And so I'm thinking of it through that calculation of saying, all right, if I go into a world of let's say an industry or a niche where people they can afford to pay more, I can be able to almost do more with less, right? Like I don't need that much people just because the average customer or the average listener is going to be able to attend more of my shows in the case of Jason Derulo and music, right? Maybe they can spend more on merch, or they can support my movement or buy more of my music, right? So I think of it more of that way. It's like, hey, can you pick your space where even the statistics of your demographic is going to help, even if you don't reach the super mass appeal in that area. It's like, they still even out in the long term.
Yeah, I agree.